I'm motivated because I got to work with two of the greatest producers to ever make music. I'm not talking about just hip-hop music, I'm talking about music in general. Madlib and J D have influenced so many, and I've got to work with them, you know, the peaks of their careers. Madlib's still growing. Dilla, sadly, is no longer with us. That experience, the two of them together, what happened, and the way I felt about music when the two of them were together making music, been one of the strongest things, you know? One of the things that's carried me the furthest, you know? Things can get real hectic, real stressful, and look real dark, and I'm like, man, I was there when the two of them were passing beat CDs to each other and influencing music all over the world on CDRs that they were just passing to each other, you know? It's kind of ridiculous. It's like, I don't know, being around Hendrix, you know, in the late 60s, being around Charlie Parker in the 40s, you know? It's just being conscious of that. How are you gonna not be excited? How are you not gonna be motivated if you know that you're already part of something that's important? You just gotta find a way, you know, through the rough patches so you can realize that dream. Music's always been used by people as a way to generate income in other ways. Radio stations make money selling advertisements, playing music recorded and released, you know, by artists on different record companies. Publishers always made money on that. Record labels didn't necessarily. Maybe they sold some records. Nowadays, that's not even a sure shot. So, record companies like ours, we're finding that we'd rather partner with bigger brands because we have an established cachet and a roster of artists who people believe in that we can use to co-brand another man's product if we believe in it and they believe in us. Now, that kind of, I'd call it parasitic relationship if I didn't believe in it so much, that only works when both parties know what they're going to get out of it. Most people throwing their CDs on CD Baby or thinking that they're gonna blow up just because they got distribution on iTunes, they don't realize how little money they're gonna make. They don't realize how they're devaluing their music by throwing it out there and making it cheaper and cheaper. You got video game companies telling you that they're gonna pay you $5,000 as a buyout, both sides, mastering and publishing, to put a song in a video game, and the reason you should do it is because it's gonna sell you records. Well, why aren't the video game companies paying mechanical royalties on those millions of copies of the video games that they're manufacturing? The answer is because we, the record labels and the artists and the publishers, have all just thrown up our hands and said, well, you know, we better grasp whatever we can. It's like the big dinosaurs, you know, lumbering around trying to get the last scraps. You got to be like those little rodents running around trying to, you know, find new ways to survive, because it is kind of cataclysmic. The old way of doing things is gone. If we don't stand up for what we believe in, if we don't find new ways to work around, you know, a devastated, devalued musical landscape, even the great music isn't going to sell. And if the great music doesn't sell and the artist can't afford to keep making it, all you're going to be left is with the trash that people are throwing around and, you know, you send it files and links to their MySpace pages or, you know, Facebook profiles or whatever. We've had many opportunities at Stone's Throw to work with bigger companies than ourselves. Companies like VTech Phones, Adult Swim, part of the Cartoon Network, which is part of Turner Broadcasting. And we've been very fortunate to work with people of power within those organizations who've given us free reign to do what we do, because they know that they're not going to capture the people that love Stone's Throw by throwing their logos all over what we do. They're going to get it by osmosis. People who check for our stuff are going to check for theirs because it's not thrown into their faces. We've been really fortunate. Like I said, you know, we've had a couple missteps. We've gotten with people who thought that they were just going to co-opt everything that we do. I'm like, man, we've been doing this for 12 years right now. We broke a few very important artists, and I think that you come in, you think you're going to give us $50,000, $100,000, and you're going to take everything that we did and you're going to find a way to reel us in and control it. Well, you're very wrong, because we don't need the money. We're only down to do this with people who understand what we're doing. The co-branding stuff that we do varies from party to party, sponsor to sponsor. You know, we get with Nike, not because necessarily we believe in, you know, manufacturing all of the shoes that they make in, you know, Vietnam or China or whatever, but because a lot of our artists wear Nikes, you know, so we'll make a Dunk. Caught a lot of flack for that. It is what it is, you know. Our artists wear Nikes. We've actually been sponsored by liquor companies, you know. Myself and a lot of artists drink. So, you know, kind of like it's part of the lifestyle. With the exception of a few, not many of our artists smoke cigarettes, so we really don't mess around with cigarette companies, you know. I'm not even sure if I did smoke, I'd want to mess around with the cigarette companies, kind of bizarre. A lot of these other companies though, the bigger ones anyway, that we've worked with, it could be anything. Sponsoring a podcast, you know what I'm saying, like presented by whoever. Putting out a record, you know. Using music for television advertisements, for TV programs in exchange for promotion. That's the kind of stuff that we do.